Hello everyone, welcome back to the Excellence Talk. This time, together with Dr. Christina Forstner, we have a guest from Denmark. Michael Stausholm is the founder and the CEO of a company called Sprout. And Sprout is offering a product, pencil, that you can plant. What an innovative, sustainable idea. What do you think, Christian?
That's amazing. I've watched the website again and again, and what I just couldn't believe what I read, Michael, what you've done. And you're in business already since 7 years, I think.
That's correct. I established Sprout in 2013. Now it's no longer a small baby, but it's a company that's growing up. We are now in 80 countries, and we have sold more than 30 million pieces of Sprout pencils around the world. So it's becoming big.
Could you please tell about how did this innovative idea come to the reality?
The Sprout pencil is a very simple idea. It's a pencil which you can write with, and once you're done writing, you have the stop left. You simply plant the stop. The capsule contains seeds, and first time you water it, it will dissolve, and the seeds will come out, and you take care of it like any other plant. In this case, it's basil. And it will grow basil after a week or two. So it's a very simple idea of sustainability, to have a product that you can use for one thing, and instead of throwing it out after use, you use it for something entirely different. In this case, you literally give it new life. The idea is originally from some young students at MIT in Boston. They came up with the idea during a design class, trying to find a sustainable office product for the future. And somehow they came up with the idea of why not take a product and do something about it so you can use it for something entirely different.
What makes the purpose and vision of the Sprout unique?
What is unique is that 7-8 years ago, I was already working in sustainability, and everyone was talking about sustainability, but it's a very fluffy thing. It's very, very difficult to put words to. And the first time I saw the Sprout pencil, which was on Kickstarter.com, where the young students had put it up for crowdfunding, I immediately thought that this was a perfect tool to communicate sustainability in a way that both grown-ups and children can understand what sustainability is all about. So Sprout is not really just a product. It's very much a green messenger, which our customers, it's 80% companies all over the world using the Sprout pencil in their communication. It's very much a communication tool to help inspire others in what they can do about sustainability.
That is truly fascinating. So it's much more than a pencil and a growing basil. It is a communication tool to inspire organizations, inspire people around the world to do more in sustainability. What is your overall, your bigger goal? I mean, to inspire people to do similar things or to improve sustainability of their businesses or of their lives. How do you think you can develop this into some bigger thing to increase momentum even?
The problem with sustainability still today is that it's very hard to define. Again, everyone is still talking about it, but putting words to it is difficult. Also because sustainability, climate change, climate discussions very easily becomes very big, very, very difficult to really understand what can you do about it. We talk about CO2, we talk about the Arctic, the polar bears and so on. But really to make change, you need for any normal person to understand what they can do. And it's about what you can do when you're down in the supermarket. When you choose your groceries, what kind of groceries do you choose? It's about making people understand that small things, when you add it all up, can actually make a difference.
So it can create a much bigger momentum. I'm absolutely sure about that. And the thing that fascinates me most about your pencil is the simplicity of the idea.
Exactly. That's the whole point. It's such a simple idea that even a kid 4 years old can understand that okay, this is what sustainability is about. I can actually do something, use my pencil, my color pencil, and then I can plant it afterwards, and I get cherry tomatoes which I can eat or cook with mom and dad.
Yeah, I've developed a passion for simplicity myself. I've been dealing with extreme complexity, like in a big nuclear power plant, in Siemens, a world organization. And so the tools and methods that I offer to my customers are full of simplicity, very simple things. And so I also helped some startups over the last couple of years. If we look at your business, Michael, what are the challenges, the specific challenges of starting that business up? I mean, you're up and running since 7 years, and obviously you're quite successful. So what have been the challenges? How have you overcome the challenges? What can you tell other entrepreneurs? And I guess there are many people who would listen and say, wow, I have another great idea that is similar to Michael's and also simple, but how can I start a business?
It's a great question. And there's a lot of green startups out there. And there's some really amazing ideas and innovation all over the world. I mean, every week I get 3-4 requests, inquiries. Can you help me? How can we get this out there in the world? And the biggest problem is that a lot of people behind green innovation, sustainability, they are very, very passionate about their products. They are often inventors, maybe engineers, but they're lacking the commercial background. They have no knowledge of sales, marketing, PR, which has been a very important part of Sprout. So to really get it out there, you need someone who is more than an engineer. You need also the sales and the commercial side of your business, because otherwise you never get there. The other thing that I've learned over the years is that a lot of companies, startups, but also corporates, they think they need to start sustainability at 100%. They need to be there right away, otherwise it doesn't really matter. That's not how it is. You need to start somewhere, even if it's a 50% in the beginning. As long as you have a goal that you're working towards, that makes the whole difference. We are very, very into making sure that all our materials, raw materials, everything is natural, 100% natural. Also, it's very important for us that our raw materials, seeds, pencils, the production is done in Europe for the European market and in USA for the American market, to avoid the shipping forth and back and to better control it. But initially when we started, when I started Sprout, we only had production in the US because that's just how it was. But very soon all the customers, or most of the customers, were in Europe. So I very early on had to start up a production in Europe because I didn't want this shipping forth and back between continents. But we started up producing in USA because we couldn't just go ahead in Europe. So the important thing is you get started, and then you know where you're going.
I like your advice. And the other thing I like very much, Michael, is how you learned over time and then moved into Europe, and you keep developing this, always having this holistic, that's my understanding, sustainability idea in your head. And so you try to improve it and improve it all the time. And this is a mechanism, I think, Murat, that we've been using in our organizations and others who we help all the time, right, Murat?
Yes, indeed. What we have already get the input from you, the definition of excellence already. But for the elaboration of this, how would you describe excellence as a success factor for Sprout?
Excellence is an amazing word. Actually, my background is from AP Moller, Maersk Line, the big shipping line, where I had my initial education. And old Mr. Moller was always talking about excellence, that we could never, ever go for 99%, always aiming for 100%. But of course, it's a journey sometimes. We have a saying in Danish, in Denmark, that you should never jump the fence where it's at its lowest. You should always try to set the bar as high as possible. you may not get it right away, but aim for it. And that to me is excellence, always trying to go for the best.
Thank you very much. It is indeed, it's the journey. And this journey that you can have a good time and like sometimes the difficult time, like the current the pandemic situation. How do you see the current situation of pandemic from the company point of view and from the world point of view?
It's certainly something that has turned things upside down for a lot of people and a lot of companies, setting aside the disease, of course. I mean, Sprout, like most companies, like most people, have been affected. April and May were not amazing months, and that came after a first quarter where we had grown more than 100% compared to last year. Last year we had a turnover of about 5.5–6 million euro, and we were growing 100%, and then suddenly, boom, things stopped. Because all our big markets, Spain, Italy, France, Germany, USA, completely locked down. But it also showed us how vulnerable we can be in many senses. We were fortunate because our production and all our supply chain was in Europe and in USA, so we were not affected like many companies. We could still produce, we could still deliver. And in the end now, where at least in Europe, we are slowly coming out of it business-wise, we are still at more than index 100 from last year. So we are at least, we're not growing as we wanted to, but we're doing okay. I think what it has shown us is that we must all speed up the digital processes. We have used this period to implement new IT systems to work on our e-commerce. But we've also seen from a lot of our customers, they're coming to us saying, listen, sustainability is here to stay. It's no longer nice to have, it's need to have. And more importantly, it's coming from the top down. It's no longer the CSR departments saying to the CEO, we should try this. It's the CEO telling the purchase and the marketing, listen guys, we need to go all in on sustainability. So definitely sustainability, COVID-19 is helping speed that up and put more focus to it. Also, like we've discussed already, a lot of companies are telling us, and I'm hearing, we want to be less depending on China, India, overseas supply chain. We need to move production back to Europe. We cannot be so vulnerable anymore. And I think those lessons are very important from the COVID-19.
You've just said the sustainability, if it's truly effective, has always to be a top-down thing. So this is all about leadership. Can you maybe share some key success factors of good leadership with our auditory? I mean, as a scientist, I keep watching leadership around the world now, on the political level, on corporate level, and you see very, very bad behavior. You see very good behavior around the world. You know what I mean? So what would your advice be? How can you lead an organization, not only in good times, but carry it through a crisis? What would be the key success factors of good leadership?
That again is a great question. I'm no longer the CEO of Sprout. I hired a CEO internally a few years back, but I'm still the chairman of the board and very much involved in the business. I think if we talk about leadership in general, culture is everything. We say that culture eats strategy for breakfast anytime. And the culture in your company is very much defined by how you are as a leader. If you're sharing, if you're communicating, that will all become part of the company culture. The Danish way of leadership is a very flat hierarchy, meaning from top to bottom is a very, very short journey. It's just around the corner, and anyone can walk into the CEO, or in this case my office, to share ideas. Very unlike other places in the world, where it's much more silo, much more hierarchy. And I think that's very important. I'm not saying the Danish way is the best way or a better way, but it works in Denmark at least. And it's leadership by example, not in the old sense where leadership by example was getting in the office by 7 o'clock and leaving last. It's by walking the talk and doing also yourself what you're communicating to your people.
And probably also serving your people, right?
Exactly. It's very much about taking care of your people. I mean, during COVID-19 in the beginning, a lot of companies were laying off people, were furloughing people, and so on. We didn't do that, because to me, the employees are the most important asset of a company like ours. And I knew I didn't know from the beginning, but my feeling from the beginning was that the most important thing was to retain the people we had, because they are extremely smart and hardworking. Because if we didn't, we would not come out the other side much stronger. We would in fact be much weaker than we were before. So taking care of your employees is what makes a company really great, I believe.
Michael, that's a wonderful example, fantastic example of leadership based on values and appreciating valuing people. Fantastic.
Thank you very much for the great insight. We have already seen that Sprout is already providing a very interesting, very innovative idea that we can have a pencil, we can plant it. So it actually helps us to create a better world. But as a last question, I would like to ask, what are the key messages you can give to the world to make the world better and excellent?
Simple question.
That's what we call a big question, yeah. But I think, of course, from my side, working with the green and the sustainable aspects, to me, it's all about, like we talked about before, inspiring people to do small things in their everyday life. And it's very, very important that when we talk about sustainability to Mr. and Mrs. Smith, or whatever the name is, that you never talk guilt. You never try to tell people, if you do this, then this horrible thing will happen. No, it's very, very important that we as people, as companies, that we talk about, if you do this instead of that, then much better things will happen, because people don't react to guilt as well as they do to understanding what the difference actually is.
So it's all about inspiring people and showing them what advantages would be if they do this or that related to sustainability.
Exactly. Never talking about giving people bad conscience or bad guilt, giving them guilt trips or anything. No, exactly.
Great news. I've learned so much from you, Michael. Thank you so much from my side. Murad?
Thank you very much, Michael. Indeed, it was a great insight to our audience that they are actually the corporate, they are actually from entrepreneur, that they have maybe just started their own business. So it was a great insight, advices to them. Maybe as out of curiosity, I want to ask, if someone wants to get the product, the pencil that they can plant now to create a better future, how they can get this?
As a company, go straight to our website, sproutworld.com, and you can purchase with customs engravings and everything for your own messages. As a consumer, we sell in many different places. We are opening up our own international e-commerce next month, but until now, our primary consumer e-commerce channel is Amazon in Europe and Amazon in North America, where you can find our Sprout pencils in different packaging.
Thank you, Michael, again. was a pleasure to welcome you to our Excellence Talk. I want to remind to also our audience that they can subscribe to the YouTube channel. They can get notified for the next videos. Thank you very much again, Michael and Christian.
Thank you. It was my pleasure being with you guys.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Thank you, Murad.